So you're a project manager probably for a lot of different projects.
Yes.
Just the most recent project. But this is part of some sort of a program to breathe life into this or something.
Right. This project is part of the intent to upgrade the facility to give it a better clean. You're sitting in furniture that's all going to go away. This furniture will become brand new, clean, vinyl, cleanable. It'll have a Corian type top on them. There'll be individual seats, so you won't have this type of cohorting, which can be very uncomfortable for some people. The other nice thing about the new seating is that we'll have bariatric seating and benches. And for many people, this is much, much easier because getting in and out of these can be difficult. The height will also be better. So all of these will help. They'll have the new flooring, solid surface flooring, cleanable, that will reduce transmission of disease. The wallpaper, which is original to this building when it was built in the 1990s, will be coated with plaster so that you have a nice clean surface that is paintable and therefore can be updated every year or two. And overall, the area will become lighter. Just having a reflective surface on the floor, reflective surfaces on the walls, you'll have a lighter, friendlier, nicer visit. The idea being that it will be a better place to come as a patient and to work as staff or caregiver.
So the furniture's going too?
Yes, it is. I can show you pictures downstairs of what will basically be replacing it. We did the PEDS area approximately a year and a half ago when they were doing an upgrade down there, so it will look very much like that.
You mentioned the height of the furniture. Is it going to be a little taller?
A little bit higher because if you look at where my legs are, they're not at the best height. And most people, I'm short, most people are slightly taller than me, and the way you sink into these chairs, if you're now an elderly person, it's much more difficult to get out of. So that when I take you downstairs and show you the new Coriander chairs, it'll be pretty obvious that it's much easier for someone who's disabled or even just not feeling well to be able to get up and walk, in when you're being called.
My mom has a problem. If she sits down in a chair that's too low, she says, I'm not going to be able to get out of this chair. It's a very important thing for her.
In the hospital, we have some older furniture in our emergency department. My mother is 87, and we're working on replacing it. But the last time we were in the ED, she could not get up from it. My husband, now she's not very big, always picks her up to put her on her feet. He physically picks her up and then lowers her down because she could not possibly get out of that furniture. And that's pretty much consistent. We have people who have been afraid to sit down because they didn't have anybody with them and they felt they couldn't get out of it. So we run and get them a wheelchair so that they feel able to sit down. And that's in our ED. So that's changing too. But in here, that new furniture makes a huge difference on being comfortable and able to, feel comfortable sitting here waiting, or waiting for someone else too.
So you're getting new floors, walls, new furniture. That doesn't leave too much, I suppose, except lights.
Well, we're not probably, at this moment in time, lighting is not going to be changed. We don't own this building. If we did, I would be working on changing it to modern LED lighting. But in buildings that we own, that's something we are doing.
Well, one thing at a
that's
time.
dimmable.
So the reason that this is all happening, it's not because you found a giant sack of money and it's like, oh, we got to blow this on something. How about some furniture?
No.
There's a bigger reason.
Yeah, it's for patient care and satisfaction. This is very directly related to how someone feels. If you're, in this case, these are all material chairs that can't be cleaned very well. If someone has an accident or whatever, it enters the fabric, and you do the best you can to clean it. Environmental Services works very hard to keep things clean. But the reality is that these chairs are 18, 19 years old, and they are past their useful lifespan. This is direct patient care. If you have someone who's sick, they're sneezing, and I can't come by and wipe these down easily, I can make the next person sick. So our intent is to put down new furniture that is antimicrobial, much easier to clean, more comfortable, and make it both a more welcoming place. And the reality is, if you're at the doctor's office, that's never fun. So trying to make that better for everyone involved is rather important, rather part of the mission.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And in Florida, the same thing, hardwood surfaces versus carpet. Hardwood is easier for...
Well, this isn't hardwood, it's solid surface. It's a wood look. Hardwood wouldn't be as good because hardwood is permeable. So that if you got someone who was very sick on it, I'm not sure we could clean it to the point that you got everything. But this stuff, because it's a solid surface flooring and it's got welded seams in it, no matter what happens, we can clean it. And if someone were to, let's say somehow the floor got damaged, I can repair it. So all of those make that a much safer environment for staff and patients, because it is so much more cleanable. You've got less chance of transmission of one thing to another, and you got children crawling on the floor. I mean, let's be, if you've got a parent who's sick and they have no one to take care of their child, the child is with them. Therefore, you want to keep this as clean as possible because that kid is going to be playing down there.
Yeah. And there's one other thing I'm thinking of too, beyond just the ability to clean, there's just the way it makes people feel.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk into a place and you get the idea that the people who work there don't care about it,
Absolutely.
Not that they don't care, but like they don't care enough to invest in it to keep it fresh and modern. That kind of is a message.
It is, absolutely. It makes you think less that if the built environment is not welcoming, how is the care that you're going to get? There may be a complete disconnect, and normally is, because the people who care for you are not the ones responsible for that carpet. But having said that, that's your first impression, and it's not a good impression. So it matters.
That's outstanding. I hope that wasn't too painful for you. You were outstanding.
Thank
I
you.
didn't even ask you what your last name is.
A whiner.